Look closely at the natural world, and you start seeing the same ideas everywhere. A fern curls inward. A sunflower arranges its seeds into repeating arcs. Lightning branches across the sky, while rivers branch across continents, and veins branch through a leaf. A snowflake forms extraordinary symmetry. Waves repeat across the ocean. Different materials, different forces, and yet strangely familiar patterns. So why does nature keep producing them? Perhaps similar problems simply produce similar solutions. But what if these patterns are also clues to something deeper? For thousands of years, philosophical and mystical traditions have explored the idea that nature is interconnected, and that patterns appearing in one part may echo through another, sometimes expressed simply as above, so below, not as a scientific law, but as an ancient intuition worth exploring. Start with something almost invisible, a vibration. Place fine particles on a vibrating surface, and at particular frequencies, chaos suddenly becomes structure. Lines appear, circles emerge. Change the frequency, and the pattern changes. This phenomenon is known as cymatics. The particles are responding to standing waves. Nothing supernatural is required, and yet something remarkable has happened. An invisible force has produced visible geometry. And we see this relationship elsewhere. Scatter iron filings around a magnet, and an invisible magnet field reveals itself. Water flowing around an obstacle produces organized currents. Wind moving across sand creates repeating ripples. We cannot see the forces themselves. We see what matter does in response to them, and again, order emerges. Sometimes that order takes the form of circulation. Water evaporates, forms clouds, falls as rain, moves through rivers, and eventually returns. The seasons move from growth to decline and renewal. A familiar motif: emergence, transformation, return. Harry B. Joseph's Book of Wisdom places particular emphasis on one representation of this idea, the torus, a geometry in which movement flows outward, around, and back towards its origin. Joseph interprets this as a deeper organizing structure within reality. Science does not establish that everything in nature is literally a torus, but nature is undeniably filled with circulation, whirlpools, vortices, weather systems, and cycles of growth and decay. Things move, they change, and often they return. Perhaps this fascination with recurring order helps explain why geometry became so important to ancient cultures. Consider the flower of life. One circle, then another, each identical, yet together producing an increasingly complex symmetrical structure. Whatever meaning we attach to it, the construction itself is striking. Complexity emerging from one simple, repeated form. And nature gives us a mathematical example. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21. Each number is created by adding the 2 before it, the Fibonacci sequence. Look closely at many sunflower heads or pine cones, and their opposing spirals frequently correspond to Fibonacci numbers. Not because nature is consciously doing mathematics, but because growth follows rules. As plants develop, certain arrangements allow them to distribute leaves or seeds efficiently. And within the Fibonacci sequence lies another famous relationship. As we divide successive numbers, the result approaches 1.618, the golden ratio. Claims about it appearing everywhere in nature are often exaggerated, but the relationship between Fibonacci mathematics and recurring patterns in plant growth is remarkable enough on its own. Simple rules, complex patterns. And this principle extends beyond one sequence. Snowflakes develop extraordinary symmetry. Branches divide into smaller branches, which divide again. Honeycombs repeat simple cells. Spider webs emerge through repeated behaviors. Nature repeatedly creates complexity from comparatively simple rules. There are practical explanations. Branching can distribute resources efficiently. Waves transfer energy. Symmetry can emerge naturally from simple interactions. A tree and a river can resemble one another without sharing some mysterious hidden connection. But explaining how patterns form doesn't make the existence of consistent natural laws any less remarkable. It simply moves the question deeper. Why is nature ordered enough to produce these patterns at all? This may be where the mystery really begins. Not with the claim that a sunflower proves sacred geometry, or that a whirlpool reveals the architecture of reality. The deeper mystery is simpler. There is order. A seed contains the potential for a particular form. Water responds consistently to gravity. The seasons return. Living things grow, change, die, and become part of what becomes next. We experience this order so constantly that perhaps we stop noticing how remarkable it is. And perhaps ancient thinkers noticed it too. They expressed recurring ideas through circles, flowers, serpents, trees, the sun, and the changing seasons. As above, so below. Maybe these symbols were thought to describe literal hidden laws. Maybe they were metaphors for relationships observed in nature. Or perhaps patterns inevitably emerge because everything inhabits the same physical reality and follows the same underlying rules. We don't know, but the deeper we look, the harder it becomes to view ourselves as separate from these systems. The water inside us belongs to the same cycle as the rain. The food that sustains us grows from the earth, powered by the sunlight that warms our skin. We breathe out what plants can use. Plants release what we need. Life feeds life. Everything participates in systems larger than itself. So perhaps the question isn't whether we are connected to nature. We plainly are. The more interesting question is what we make of the extraordinary order within it. Is it simply the inevitable consequence of natural laws? Is it evidence of some deeper organizing principle? Or does something so beautifully ordered invite us to consider the possibility of design?